Rule number one is that you do not write a song in a room full of people. I was a songwriter. I'm still a songwriter. That is where my heart is.
Their entire life.
I'm not saying that it's wrong.
What makes chicken parmesan like? What's the
well, you know what?
Chicken parmesan?
You can just. I can't get because I don't know. I want to get into this whole museo-political, idealist sort of fascist situation of.
The big goofball. They were all over in the prison.
The advice or the secret to that?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No, and I
How
say
did you
that.
Start?
Well, I was a songwriter. I'm still a songwriter. That is where my heart is, where everything that I do is based on that. But if you try to figure out how to stay around a long time, you probably are focusing on the wrong things. What I do is that I liken myself to a submarine commander who's out in the middle of the ocean. Although he may know where he is, every now and then you have to put up the periscope, get a real idea where you are, then you put it back down, you go back to work. And if you can it's kind of the way I've always worked. I don't think about tomorrow. I don't carry one of these things around to sort of record things.
Brian, to myself today.
No, I just if I remember, then it's supposed to be something, and it was great to sort of detox from that. And that's when I did radio and I did TV. Yes. I did so many other things. So when I came back to writing this album that's about to come out next month, it was a breath of fresh air because it didn't feel like I was doing the same old thing, even though I was doing the same old thing. I wouldn't say that I've had blocks necessarily. When I don't feel like writing, I don't write. And I don't make myself write. It's not like I sit down one day and say, today I'm going to write a song. It just comes. And that's kind of the way I've worked my whole career. I don't try to put sort of those kind of guidelines on myself.
What comes first, the words, the tunes, it all just...
It comes in any way. There's no one way, and I think that's sometimes a problem with people who have blocks. They need to be in their special room with their special candles, with their special this and special that. I never hinder the muse to sort of show up. Wherever it is, believe me, I've gotten inspiration at times and in places where it probably wasn't the best situation. But you just have to hope to remember, I guess. Since my second album, no song has taken longer than about 4 hours to create and produce and record.
Wow.
Because I wait. And then, it's almost like my engineer, and I used to have this thing, he knows I'm coming at 8 tonight. So by 8 o'clock tonight, if I have something, I'll be there. If I'm not there, that means it didn't come today. And then tomorrow, he knows I'm going to show up at 8 if I have something. So throughout the day...
Hold on a second. You make this guy wait at 8
every
day?
No, I will call him to let him know I'm not coming, But, he knows that was our schedule for 15 years.
Wow,
They're pretty
so
much
you worked with the same for 15 years?
The same engineer. Yeah, and it's the problem. Not write a song in a room full of people.
By yourself?
Yeah, because what happens is somebody says, well, what do you think about this? And then they become songwriters. Next thing you know, they replaced an and with a the, and now they deserve 15% of your song. So, yeah, crazy.
Like, why am I singing and all the time?
Yes, no. Exactly. And then I sing what I have.
Yes.
And then, there really isn't a story yet. So I say, okay, where am I in this song? What am I trying to say? Where am I going? And then the rest of the song, I send whoever's in the room out, engineers, everyone, and I write the second verse, then I bring them back in and I sing that. Then if there's a bridge, I send everybody out again, I do that, bring them back, and then the song is finished. By the end of the night, by midnight, we have a song that's finished.
You were coming out and you were thinking that it may be called My Rebellious CD before you got the name that it currently has. Why?
Well, rebellious in the sense that I wanted to go places where, in the world today, and I was talking to one of the promotional guys at the label, they want people to stay in their lane. Brian McKnight is a soulful balladeer singer, period. If he does anything else, we are not going to accept it because that just means he's not being himself. But then when I do what they expect me to do, they say, well, that's just the same old thing that he does. So what do you do?
People are so demanding, aren't they?
What you do is you forget about all of that and you do what you want to do. Yeah, you write the kind of songs you want to write. Now, you don't completely go away from what people expect from you, but there have to be sort of tangents that you can go on so that you can get off creatively. And with the first single, which is Fall 5.0, it's the greatest combination of old school and new school. I did this whole record with my two sons who are here with me tonight. And how it works in our house now, we have a studio there, and I take it to this point and I put that up on the hard drive, and then they come in, because they sleep till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I go play golf, and they take it and they mold it and shape it, and they make it sound very much like today. And that's how we've worked this last year or so. Because I'm not 18, 20 years old like they are. They stay up all night because they have to do their music. So they come in, later on that night, and they work till 6 in the morning on their stuff.
So the only time you really see them is on stage.
Pretty much. Listen, sometimes I don't even know what they're doing because they're in their rooms with their doors closed. God knows what's going on down the hall. Yes. But, every now and then I pass them in the hallway, what's up? What's up? And that's it.
Have you collaborated and at one point come to some sort of creative difference with your sons in this process?
Not at all. I mean, obviously, if there's a kick drum here I don't necessarily like, or maybe a cymbal here, but for the most part we are, and you'll see tonight if you're here for the show, that we all have this sort of mental telepathy between all of us, and that includes my brother who's here as well, that we know what we're going to do. We all breathe at the same time. We all sing, and the blend is always, and we don't even practice. That's the other thing. When we were dreaming up.
I'm getting seriously jealous here. At this point, I am getting seriously jealous.
But you know what? It's something that we've been doing our whole lives.
Yes.
So it's not like we have to do a whole. When we first sort of put the show together, my brother came out to LA, and he was there 3 days. We spent about 2 hours in that 3 days in a group where they have to rehearse constantly. Because it's take 6, and the arrangement's so intricate and everything, and we're just kind of like flying by the seat of our pants, and we get up there and we just kind of do it, and he's kind of nervous, like, hey man, you sure this is gonna, like, trust me. I'm not sure that I'm qualified necessarily to give anyone advice about the barometer of the music business now. All you really can do is to be an example of the work ethic that it takes to have a career at this. Because these days you can be famous, you can have a hit record.
And do nothing, actually.
Yeah, you can have a hit record, but years from now I have to get a job doing something other than being in this business. So what I always tell people is figure out not how to be the next so-and-so, but how to be the first you.
In your entire career so far, what are you most proud of?
I think this moment right now. It's
talking to me?
Well, yes, but also that you want to talk to me. I've been in this business 24 years, and people still want to pay their money to see me, and they still want to talk to me, and they still want me to make records. And that's, there are no awards that can replace that. There are people that have multiple Grammys who, can't go out here and get arrested on the road or do, it's humbling to know that in this economy at this time in 2011 that people still want to come hear mostly songs that I wrote.
What's your favorite?
No idea what you're talking about. Go ahead.
What's your favorite food dish? Something that you just love to eat?
Okay, if they do it correctly, and you go to an Italian restaurant where there are Italians cooking, it'd be chicken parmesan every day. If it's done right, I could eat it every day.
For people who have been tasting chicken parmesan done wrong their entire life,
I'm not saying that it's wrong.
What makes chicken parmesan what's the perfect chicken parmesan?
You can just, I can't get, because I don't know.
Yes.
But you can tell when somebody's grandmother's making it, or when it's a chain restaurant and there are all kinds of other people just working on a recipe. You can just tell it's richer. It's like when my mom makes macaroni and cheese. It's like, I don't care what kind of macaroni and cheese you make. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's tasty, but it's not like my mother's. And I don't know what she does. And I'm not in there. Ask him, he'll tell you. There's just something about it. And it'll make you 300 pounds, but it's awesome.
You look like you've been either working out or having to.
At the beach.
Beverage, adult drink that you sip on, you enjoy.
There's actually
wine, beer.
I consider myself a bit of a mixologist myself.
Really?
And I find myself in the bar in my house sometimes coming up with something special. I can't tell you what's in it, but a why not would get you there very quickly.
A why not?
Why not? Listen, when everyone's telling you, well, why? Yeah. Why? You say, why not? That, and I just...
Is it like, should I put some gin in? Why
no,
not?
No.
Should I put it?
No,
not
there
that
are
kind
very
of...
specific ingredients and specific amounts of each ingredient that you have. It's purple. I want more of that. The next thing you know, how did I get to Brian's room?
Have you shared this recipe with your sons?
No, they know. Well, I keep a picture in the refrigerator, just just in case some of you know you need to. It's not Kool-Aid though.
It's not Kool-Aid,
But it sure tastes good. It's purple
delicious.
and it's tasty.
Sounds great. So we need some of that McKnight. Why not?
It's why not.
Favorite gadget?
You know, it would probably be my laptop, even though I have an iPad and an iPhone. The things that you can do with computers now are pretty amazing. And I think it's the best thing and worst thing that's ever happened to society, because nobody wants to do anything anymore. You can do everything from home now. And you can know everything there is to know about anyone at the touch of a button, which I think sort of takes away the mystique of being a star. Because you can IMDb them or Google them, and now you know everything. You can't. There's nothing to anticipate. There's nothing to think about, and I think it's diminished the quality of a star. But it's pretty awesome at the same time.
You like some of that mystery.
Yeah. Listen, you know, when I was a kid, you may not have even gotten a picture of your favorite artist on an album the first one you heard of theirs. It wasn't until they came to town, and maybe you saw them on Mike Douglas. See, you don't know nothing about Mike Douglas. You know, that you even saw what they looked like. So you had to take them on the merit of how great the records were. Where now, I mentioned this on Twitter the other day, it's like, do you go to a concert to see the concert, or do you go to a concert to hear the concert? And most people never even thought of the concept of that, because they're more concerned about, man, her dress was great. Oh, what'd she sound like? I don't know. But the shoes were awesome. It's like, really? So you don't even care whether or not, you know, the song, whether they sounded good or whether, and I think that's one of the problems with music today, that it's so personality driven and not necessarily talent driven. When Thriller came out, you bought the record, you know, it's a whole different, but I didn't really want to get into this whole museo-political, idealist, sort of fascist situation of music. Thunderbolt, baby.
Oh, you're really up to date.
I'm up to date.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed this. Hug, hug, hug. Awesome.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just got out.
Sorry, keep going.
Did you want to come here and interview?
No, forget it.
Oh, Tiff, a Tiff.
Forget about that. Stay in the script.
Yeah, yes, I've listened to that.
Yes. Oh, that guy. Right.
I did not mean.
Yeah, that guy.
Yes, your videos get like 5 million.
I was doing just research.
It's not Sammy Davis. I'll tell you that right now. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking.